Hello, everybody. This is Nicole Whitlock with eCom Sellers. And today is day 33 of our print on demand challenge. So, what we are covering today is I've given you like a lot of instruction on different things that you can do to, I don't know what just happened. Uh, I have some noise. I don't know. Just okay. Someone called in. All right, that's fine. So before we get started, let me just see if there are any questions that I can help answer before I get into this. Okay. If there are no questions, and then what I will do is okay, they already muted themselves. Okay. All right. So today we're going to talk about when you get to that place where you're able to be consistent, okay, in your business, and you're able to, be able to create your listings on a daily basis. You're able to create designs on a regular basis. Let me just do this. I'm going to mute. I don't know who called in. I'm just going to mute you for a second.
It's Hazel.
Oh, hey, Hazel. All right. Okay. There we go. All right. So let me start again. So when you get to that place where you're ready to, you're being consistent and creating listings on a regular basis. You're being consistent on, okay, let me go ahead and admit her here. I don't know if that'll be a duplicate, but okay. You're being consistent on creating your listings. You're consistent on every single day creating a new listing. You're checking what's happening with your sales on a daily basis. And you're beginning to, get better at your keyword research, your titling, your images, figuring out which products to potentially put your amazing designs on. Then the next thing that we want to do is there will be aspects of your business that you probably want to consider outsourcing to a VA. And so the outsourcing side of the business is where, I'm going to mute that. There we go. The outsourcing side of the business is where you'll be able to actually scale. You can also scale with creating multiple designs. That's not an issue. You can easily scale without outsourcing anything. You can easily scale by doing this on your own without hiring anybody. But let me just say this. There are many things that a VA can do for you. A virtual assistant is a person who is virtual, of course, and they do some side work for you in your e-commerce business, even if they only work 5 hours a week. So if you decide you're going to work 5 hours a week, 1 hour a day, 5 days a week in your business, and you're going to hire somebody else to work 5 hours a week, there's a few different things that they can do for you. They can help you with creating listings. They can help you check to see that your products are actually making their way to the customer and confirm that those shipments have been shipped. They can, if there's anything that there's a delay, they can check your email inbox to see if there's any customer questions. They can check to see if there's any delay with your vendor. They can help you with some of the designs. They can go and do research inside of eRank and Google Trends and on some of the selling platforms that have search engines like Amazon, eBay, Etsy, Walmart. They can go and do some of that research for you. And what that does for you is it may streamline your process. They can also help you with creating your listings, or they can help create your cluster images. When we talk about that 2,000 by 2,000 if you're selling on Etsy, and on Amazon it's at least 1,000 by 1,000. So they can help you with all of those things. And in some cases, you can grant them on different platforms. You can grant them like assistant or access, so limited access, and that again multiplies you, allows you to get more work done. They can also help create some of your actual designs. So, I think that when you're at that place, and it's going to be a little bit until you are where you're being consistent on creating listings on a daily basis, where you're being consistent on doing research on a daily basis, where you're checking your accounts on a daily basis, and then you gradually begin to get better at your listings, your titles, your descriptions, your tags. As you gradually get better at that, and you get better at creating some of your listings in advance, then you'll start to make some money, and that's where hiring a VA can be beneficial. So the cost for a VA depends. If you're just hiring a VA to work like 5 hours a week for you, there's a couple of different services that are out there that you can give them extremely simple work to do at 5 hours a week, and you maybe can pay $100 a month for them. Okay. So I have a company I've worked with for a while named Emphasize, and they will do 50 30-minute tasks for me, 50 of them. And whatever those 30-minute tasks, so if you break that down into a week's time, you give them 5 30-minute tasks each week, and there's 4 weeks in a month. Well, then that's 20 tasks that you've given them. They got 30 other tasks you can give them still. So, if you double that up and give them 2 tasks, then, you're up to 40. So they could be that you give them 2 tasks, because that's 2 30-minute sessions is 1 hour. And now you have, helped yourself with your product research, maybe with using Canva, with keyword research, with checking your accounts on the print-on-demand supplier side. There's so many things that they can do. So virtual assistants are a way that you can multiply yourself, double yourself, what you do, and help your business long term. Again, before you hire a VA, I'm just going to encourage you to be consistent in your business, because that's going to be an expense. And again, one of the fastest ways that people quit this business is that they shell out a lot of money before they make money, and then they say this thing doesn't work. So I'm going to tell you that you're going to have to figure out your schedule situation. You're going to have to figure out, putting together your game plan and your strategy. And when you feel like you have a solid game plan and you have a solid strategy and you're starting to make a little bit of money, then that's where you can reinvest your money into a VA. And again, you can get one as low as $100 a month. Okay. Now, if you need someone that's going to work full time, work 40 hours a week, then, and depending on which country you're willing to hire the person from, you may pay upwards of anywhere from $400 to $800 or more per month for a full-time VA. And so if you are not at that place where you have that kind of money, think about, as you start to begin the process of documenting what you do, organizing what you do, think about what that VA can do for you. And then that way, when you're at the place where you have money, then you'll be able to hire them. So why do you need a VA? To multiply yourself, to increase your productivity, to increase your profits. The more you can get listed, the more that you can give them the things that are considered sometimes low-hanging fruit, the more money you can potentially make. You can invest your energy and your time on things that are going to yield you money faster. And let them do the things that you consider tedious, mundane, or boring, or maybe even stressful, because sometimes you can give them those tasks and you have to train them. And I would encourage you, if you're going to train them, I would encourage you to use Google Drive, Google Documents, and there's a tool called Loom, Loom, where you can record video instructions. So you have to document your standard operating procedures first and give them the Google document that's step-by-step instructions of what you do, and a Loom video, and have them do whatever it is that you want them to do. If you want them to do product research, create a Loom video about how you want them to do product research. If you want them to create listings, create a Loom video explaining how, step-by-step, very detailed, how you want them to create listings. If you want them to go out there and do keyword research or product research, or do tag research or niche research, then again, create a Loom video that's very detailed, step-by-step, on how you want them to do the niche research. So the challenges that you do have with getting a VA is that sometimes you have to give them access to stuff. Sometimes they don't get things when they're first starting off. Their timeline and your timeline are maybe not going to be lined up, and that's just a fact. It may take them longer to get up to speed, and you're not prepared for that. You're ready for them to hit the ground running. So I will say this: The best time to bring on a VA is in the early stages. Well, in quarter one, quarter two, quarter three, or quarter one and quarter two, or July of quarter three. I feel like August and September is getting it really close to Q4. And so when I think about bringing on a VA, I separate out getting what it takes to get them up to speed. And I normally allow a 3-month buffer. 3-month buffer, meaning I've set aside money to pay for their salary for 3 months. So if I'm paying for a VA for $100 a month, and that's not probably a US based VA, I'm going to tell you that. If I'm paying for a VA at $100 a month, then I've set aside $300 so that by the end of the 3-month period, I'm not stressed out about how I'm going to pay them to get them up to speed. It's going to take your VA anywhere from 2 to potentially 3 months to be running smoothly or like clockwork, depending on how much work you give them or how complicated or simple the task that you're giving them to do. So if it's complicated, it's going to take them the full 3 months. The first month is all about training them and monitoring everything that they do every single day. So that may mean you're going to do a 5-minute or 10-minute touch base with them every single day for about the first 2 to 4 weeks. Month 2, you're probably only going to touch base with them twice a week. You've worked out the kinks because you're correcting them. You're probably improving your standard operating procedure documentation, and you're probably re-recording your Loom video. I would tell you our Loom videos are anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes long. Sometimes they're 3 minutes long. But as long as you have the documentation, that also helps. So going through that process, giving them the opportunity to rewatch the videos, because you're going to give them one singular task and not a string of tasks in your video. So how to create a listing, you're going to go through a video on how to create a listing. And that's all that's in there. How to do keyword research, you're going to go through a video, create a video on how to do keyword research. How to do niche research, you're going to create a video just for that. You're not going to add a bunch of other stuff around titles and tags and all that other stuff. That's not what we're doing in that one. So how to optimize a listing, it's just going to be that. How to verify that shipments have gone out, it's just going to be that. How to contact your print-on-demand provider to ask about supply inquiries or any other things, it'll just be that. How to handle customer service questions, that is all that video will be. So your VA may end up with 15 to 20 different videos that they are 15 to 20 videos that they are watching to be able to, do the work that you need them to do. All right. So, so that first month, again, is just getting them going. The second month is monitoring them closely. And the third month is giving them a little bit of freedom. And then the third month is giving them a lot of freedom. And by the middle of the second month, the work that they do should start to yield you money. So whatever work that they are doing should start to make you money. And so then by the end of the third month, you have enough money to pay for them the next month. So if you had $100 in profit, you can pay for them in April. If we're going to start them in January, February, March. So you can pay for them in April. If you had $200 worth of profit, you can pay for them April and May. If you have $300 in profit, you can pay for them April, May, and June. So always, again, use your profits to be able to cover the expense that's related to your business, whatever that looks like. So as you go through this, the thing that you will have to keep in mind, and again, I'm not saying this is where you are right now, but I want you to visualize what your life and your business could look like when you get to that place where you're able to afford a VA. Because hopefully it'll motivate you to be consistent and keep going on this journey. And that's ultimately the goal, is to motivate you to keep going and to be consistent. So you do need to set aside or begin the process of putting together a budget. And we'll talk about, I gave you some ideas about the budget, but we'll talk about some sources for that. And there are some expectations. Your expectations and their understanding of your expectations initially is not going to be the same. It's going to take a minute for you both to get on the same page. And that is a fact. That's just something that's going to happen. And you'll have to allow grace and mercy and patience as you go through this process. Now, if you're hiring someone at $50 an hour or $40 an hour, and your patience level is probably going to be less, because that's a lot per hour to be shelling out for a person. But if you're hiring somebody that is green, we'll talk about what that looks like. So people that are green or don't have any exposure or experience with print on demand, you can give them simple tasks, something that is very simple that almost anyone potentially could do. If you think about a person who files stuff in a doctor's office, if I am filing stuff in a doctor's office and putting stuff into tall file cabinets, I can probably put files into tall file cabinets at a dentist office. I could put files into a tall file office in an insurance office. I can do the same thing in a lawyer's office. I can do the same, I can do the same thing in many different offices, because the idea around filing is pretty much, you got a folder, it's normally alphabetized, you put things in alphabetical order. And so it is a task that, if you have experience filing, probably can do that fairly simple. So the same thing with your business. You will have to think about the tasks that you're doing in your business, and that's going to be extremely important. Then you've got, so those people I call doers, people that can do a basic task, whether it is, going out there and finding an image on Canva that doesn't have the pro symbol on it, going out and, doing some quick research on, in your niche, whatever your niche happens to be, the top 10 listings or the first 10 listings that pop up on Etsy, looking at the competitors and giving you a summary, the first 10 listings on Amazon for related or similar or complementary products, looking at the listings for the first 10 that pop up and giving you a summary, like, here's the titles that I'm seeing, that these words that are in common, here's the descriptions that are in common, here's what a summary of the pictures, this is what their main photo or cluster photo looks like as compared to the secondary. Of the 10, 4 have videos and the rest of them don't. Like, that VA can go do some viewing of information. Now, part of that does require, in some cases, some level of analysis. So if you're going to keep it pretty basic and pretty simple, they are considered a doer. They can do a task. They can file something in a file cabinet. They can create a Word doc. They can download a file. It is pretty straightforward. And that's the other thing. They can download your images and upload them up to your print on demand provider site. So then that way you have your images in that folder for that site. So you can have them do all kinds of stuff to save you time. Thinkers are those that are definitely a step above doers. They can think about things a little bit more. They can do a little bit more analysis. They can maybe do double the work of a doer, or they can take something like filing things. And if you say, okay, I also need you to file it by, insurance carrier, if you're doing files for like a medical office. So I need you to separate them in alphabetical order, but I also need them sorted by which ones are insurance carriers with United Healthcare, which ones are Aetna, which ones are whatever. And then also I need you to separate them out by the patients that are pediatric versus patients that are adult. So you're giving them some more layers of work within the same task. Those are your thinkers. So your doers are going to be your lowest cost staff. Your thinkers are going to cost you a little bit more, but they are also able to do a little bit more. They can do some of the more complex stuff. Like if you want them to log into your account, and you also, you want them to download your images or download your images from Canva and upload them up to your print on demand site, whether it's Printful or whoever. And you want them to also check to see if shipments have gone out. You want them to follow up with the print on demand provider for anything that's over 5 days. Like, you're requiring them to think through what they need to do. Okay, so those are thinkers. They're going to cost you a little bit more. And then your specialists are people that are going to cost you the most. Those are people that specialize in a specific task. If you want somebody to create an email marketing campaign for you, that's your specialist. You want them to create a more involved marketing video for you, that's your specialist. You want them to create a funnel for you or a sales page or do an intricate graphic for you, that's your specialist. Those are people that are going to cost you more money, probably the most money. And so think about those specialists that you could potentially work with, but those will probably be the last ones that you hire because initially you're probably going to be the specialist. You're probably going to do the more intricate until you're making money. And there are people that are doing print on demand that with consistency, they really start to turn out money, meaning their business is making money. But they're very consistent in their daily activities in their business. So I'm just going to keep encouraging you to work on being consistent for the next 7 days because this is the beginning of the week. It's Sunday, and then tomorrow is the 4th of July. Work on consistency. Work on trying to be more consistent. So a couple of things, I'm just going to run through these pretty quickly. A couple of the mistakes or things you need to think about as you get to this place, and you're not there right now, so come back and listen to this recording later. And if you are there, congratulations, go ahead and run with this. Seriously, run with it. Not knowing what to outsource. I kind of gave you some ideas on what you could outsource, but I really want you to write down what you do every single day in your business as you begin to build up your business, as you begin to build up your consistency. Write down what you're doing. And those will be the things that you will cherry pick from to say, I want to outsource this. I don't want to do this anymore. Okay. So not knowing what to outsource, you got to document what you do every single day. That's your starting point. And then you can figure out where from that list, what you want to outsource and where you want to send that. You can hire a person that's an individual, like an individual person. You can work with a company, or you can work with a specific service provider. So like for us, our specialists, we have a company by the name of Floxy, and they will do copywriting, they do video work, and they do graphics. So that is a service provider. Whereas a VA specific company, and there's a handful of VA specific companies that all they do is they either connect you with the VA so you can establish a contract with that VA directly, or they have a pool of points that you can use to do different tasks. And so that's like FSI has like a, they'll give 50 tasks and that's it for the month and you're done. And then you can hire an individual directly. If you know someone, if you have a friend that's in the Philippines or a family member that has someone in the Philippines or in India or in some of the other countries where you can get someone for a little less money, that would be helpful if it's somebody that you feel like that understands what you're trying to accomplish. They may not understand your business. They're highly motivated and they're willing to do the work. You can give them a test run. And we'll talk about how you give them a test run. You are unorganized, and so you don't know what questions to ask. I will tell you when you get to that place where you're ready to hire a VA, if you're going to hire someone in the U.S., that's great. But if you're not going to, and typically most people in the U.S., of course, they speak your language, so it's easy maybe to understand. Sometimes they don't always speak your language, even in the U.S. But if they are in another country, you need to have some potential requirements. Like they have to be able to meet with you at least during your time. And you can be flexible and say, I'll meet with you early morning or late at night, but you need to be available to me during my time, and you can decide when that is. The rate that you're willing to pay them, their level of experience, whether or not they can or cannot understand English, speak English, type English, because that's extremely important. If you're hiring someone to help you with some of your customer service stuff as your business continues to grow, and they don't speak really good English, they're going to be a direct reflection on you and your company. Trust me, I have felt that pain. So that can be a little bit of a challenge. And to get around that, what I do is I give my VA some standard answers that they can just copy and paste to make it so much easier for them. Hiring someone cheap and expecting a whole bunch of work out of them, that's not going to work out for you. I can tell you that right now. You are going to sort of get what you pay for. And you need to be prepared that some of the specialty stuff, you can't hire someone to create funnels for you at $100 a month. I don't know what kind of funnels you're going to get. I don't even know how long they're going to work. So, hiring them to maybe do some niche research on the internet, that you can do. You can record a Loom video and give them some guidance. Not establishing expectations, how many hours you expect them to work, when you expect them to work, that kind of stuff. That should be understood. And so in the job description, it should outline what the expectations are. And I actually do have a job description for my people. So each one of my VAs knows exactly what the expectations are. They also have a weekly to-do list. So it makes the meetings every single week when I talk to them go much faster, because you literally can go through the checklist first of the things that you expect them to do, and then the extra work that you gave them. Not diversifying the tasks in your business, only having one person doing something, and then when that person is out, sick, or quits, then you're hosed. I've experienced that once in 4 years, and I didn't like it at all. So, taking the opportunity to where it's an option, cross-training people. Not setting up your VA correctly, not making sure they have access to the stuff that they need, not making sure that they have the information about your business, your vision, your brand, whatever. That's helpful. Not allowing enough time to get your VA up and running. I actually worked with a guy who's a millionaire. I worked a couple, 2 millionaires. And they're $1 million, like they're not just $1 million sellers. They are $1 million, they're like $1 million e-commerce sellers. Like they're not just their sales, their profits. And what the irony that I found is that, they churned and burned really long hours, really insane hours to get to those numbers, but they were terribly organized, and they would hire VAs and fire them extremely quickly because they didn't have a process in place to get the VA up and running. And they didn't allow the VA enough time to get up and running and understanding their business. And I was like, time out. I need you to stop doing this, because you have an unrealistic expectation, because you haven't even laid the ground rules. They don't even know what they're coming into. So let's get organized first, and then once you get organized, then we'll be in a better position to say, okay, now you can outsource this VA, outsource this task to this VA, and you need to fully make sure they understand. You need to set aside at least 10 minutes or 5 to 10 minutes every single day to touch base with them to make sure that they are understanding what the expectation is. And you need to do that for at least 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the complexity of what you give them. Can't just expect this from them. So it was a learning process for them. It's a learning process for a lot of people. And when you get to that place, you're like, okay, now things are running so much better, but you have to allow them enough time to get up to speed, and you have to listen to them. So the next one is listening to them for ideas and feedback. Once your VA has been doing the tasks that you've given them for 3 months, 6 months, if you're not listening to them when they come up with ideas, maybe there's a faster way that they found to do niche research. Maybe it's not the way you want them to do it, but listen to what they have to say. It could actually yield you some more potential products to sell. It could also derail things, but again, listen to them and then think through what they're telling you. And if it makes sense, maybe consider trying it for a couple of weeks. I know I've done that with my VAs before, where I was like, okay, we're trying this for the next 6 weeks. We're going to give it a really good 6 weeks to see if it works, see what the impact is to the business, see what it is to the bottom line. If it doesn't work, we're not going to do it anymore. Okay. And so that's what we lead each week with, let's get a status update on this thing right here that we're trying. And then not sharing your vision. If you are looking to brand, we've already covered branding, and we've talked about scaling your business to own your own brand, have your own brand established. Let your VAs know, because sometimes there are VAs that you'll run into on this journey that are looking for a long-term gig. They're not looking for something that's quick, that's only going to last them 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. And so they are willing to help you build this business that you're wanting to build, this brand, and they're willing to come alongside you. So give them the opportunity. I would encourage that. Let them know about your business and what you're planning on doing once they've been with you for a little bit. So I talked about getting started, document what you do, um, uh, create your standard operating procedures. There's so many different companies that you can go with. Upwork has a lot of specialists. Fiverr has specific tasks, singular tasks that people can do. So does Freelancer. Onlinejobs.ph will allow you to hire, people. But if you go with onlinejobs.ph, if you hire them for 6 months, you're going to have to pay them for 7 months. If you hire them to work for 12 months, you're going to have to pay for them 13. So you just want to be prepared of what kind of agreement you're signing into, because there is an expectation that there will be one more month's worth of salary in there. Some of the others, Replace Yourself, Virtual. This is not all of them. You can do a Google search. There's a bunch of them. But go and figure out what you need. Do you just need a doer? Do you need a thinker? Or do you need a specialist? And then once you figure that out, that's going to help you. Before you hire them, I would test the person or give them a specific test. So like on Upwork, you can submit a bid or submit a job. If you want someone to, I've done a couple of things on Upwork and I can't remember everything, but one of them had to do with a website. Another one had to do with some specific product research. So let's say your niche is print on demand for babies. Okay, so giving someone the task to go out there and find print on demand ideas for 1-month-olds, like, okay, people who have a 1-month-old or mothers that are expecting. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff because you got a bottomless pit of gifts that you can do for a woman that is expecting or a family that's expecting a baby. So you can put that request in to Upwork that says, I would need you to do some niche research. That's the order that you're doing niche research on expectant mothers that are in the 9th trimester, 8th or 9th trimester, and what are the top 20 things that most women would like to receive. And I'll give you a starting point. And you can go 1, 2, 3, go, put it out there. People will go do the research. You'll have a couple people that'll do just the 20, and then you'll have some people that'll do 50 and 100. Now, once you review the 50 and 100, those are probably the people that you want to have secondary conversations with. That's what I mean by test them out. So some of the platforms will let you have them do a test activity, a preliminary thing before you hire them. And then once you find that person that does exactly what you need them to do, then, or 2 people, you can maybe make an offer to both of them and figure out which one is better than the other over a period of time. They don't have to know about each other. And whichever one works out over maybe 30 days or 2 weeks, then you can let the other person go. And again, that's going to depend on which platform you decided to acquire them from. You also want to understand what you're entitled to on some of these platforms. If they're not doing what they need to do, like, can you withhold money? Can you not pay? Can you file a complaint? What are your rights? So make sure you do that research as well. If you decide to hire them, monitor them. Like I said, the first 3 months are the biggest. Check to see where they are at the end of the 1-month period. Not only ask them what they like about the job, but also find out what they don't like about the job. And ask them maybe what they feel like could be improved or what they still don't understand. That is important information for you as a business owner, especially if you plan on building out a brand and you plan on scaling a business. So make sure that you ask those questions and you make a note of them. And then when you come back and talk to them 3 months later, they're going to give you some different feedback. And then you come back and talk to them 6 months later and then 9 months later, so that way you're allowing yourself to gradually improve the business over time. And you're allowing maybe some adjustments to help this person to be happier, because if they are doing good work for you, I can tell you, you probably don't want to lose them. You probably would like to keep them around, especially if they take your work time from whatever it is right now, 10 hours, 15 hours, 20 hours a week in your business, and it drops down to 5 hours a week. I will do whatever I need to do, if you're a good worker, to keep you happy. Almost anything. So keep that in mind as you go through the process. And as I said before, the things that you can have them do for you, there's so many different things if you decide to hire a VA. But the first thing you have to do is you have to be profitable before you do this. Once you are profitable, then I would encourage you, if you're going to hire a VA, consider doing it anytime from January to July. Like I said, I think August is not enough time for you to test them, to screen and to let them work their first month, second month, and third month. Because if they start in August, that's August, September, October, you're already into Q4. If they start in September, that's September, October, November, you're already into Q4. You need them to be stabilized and ready to go for Q4 starting in October. You don't need them to be learning something new. You don't need to be launching anything new or different in Q4. Q4 is all about scale and volume. That's what that's about. So I hope this information is helpful. What questions can I answer? Are there any questions I can answer?
Nicole, this is not pertaining to the VA, but I'm having problems getting into the program every day. It just circles and circles and circles and says trying to let you in.
Okay. It is. Do you have any like internet connection issues?
No.
Okay. Well, yesterday I sent an email out. So yesterday was an early class.
Right. Well, this happened today also. And I had to dial in on my phone. And when I dialed in on my phone, it actually went to my computer and I clicked on it again.
Okay.
And I was able to join.
Well, I might switch from Google Meet to something else because I always have to approve people to come into the room, which is not what I want to do. So I might consider using a completely different tool, which might make it easier. I'll look at that and see if we can improve it. And I'll see what I can do to fix that. Okay. Let me just look into it and figure out what my alternatives are.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions I can help answer? All right. Well, and Hazel, I did have I had problems with my computer earlier today. So it could have been today, could have been me, meaning it could have been me and my computer because I did have connection issues at the beginning. So okay.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, I will talk with you all not tomorrow. Happy 4th of July, everyone. I'll talk with you all on Tuesday. So happy 4th. And I'm looking forward to hopefully some of you actually have some stuff in your store. You got your store connected and you got some stuff in your store. So we'll talk then. And I hope you all have a happy 4th and a safe one too.
Happy 4th to you and congratulations to your boys.
Oh, thank you. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.